We've got our press conference today. We had Brian Weir had some stuff he wanted to discuss. We told him we'd let him do that, so we're going to start him off, and then we'll have with our press conference. But Brian, I'll let you come up here and present what you wanted to present. I appreciate your willingness to do that.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much, Mayor, for providing the opportunity to speak today. What I'm here to talk about today is the fact that we have businesses and we have residential homes in the area that have not recovered from Hurricane Sally yet. We hit the 6-month mark a little bit ago, but there's still a lot of need in our community. I've been approached by stakeholders, by residents, businesses that are still in need of help. So what I wanted to do today is, first of all, introduce you to Michelle Luckett. Michelle's over here, if you can just wave, Michelle. She's the new CEO of Brace, and I want to give her your name and face so you can kind of see her. And I also want to talk about the process we created. At one point, we're going to create a whole new process to allow businesses and nonprofits to contact the chamber, find out who they are, create a needs assessment for it. But Michelle has very graciously offered the ability for her to take in that intake and provide that take-in process for people calling Brace, creating a needs assessment, and then figuring out how much need we have in our community still. What we're going to do is provide a unified phone number, so one number to call for everything, and that way it's easy for our residents to do it. We're going to reach out to our friends, our enemies, our coworkers, whoever we can, to let them know. Everyone in the community needs to know if you have a problem with Hurricane Sally damage to contact this one unified number. I provided you a little packet here of some information. This is kind of a draft of what it would look like. A very simple flyer with Hurricane Sally's phone number on it for the recovery. The second page is going to be like a social media type post, and you'll see the word homeowners changed to homeowners and businesses instead. The third slide is pretty interesting. This is actually a survey statistic, and I circled some of the key points of the survey statistics, and Michelle can go into more detail later. But this is a survey of 155 residents, and 92 of those residents are here within the city. People still in need are the ones in the city. If you look at the start areas and recovery estimates, you'll see the total uninsured construction costs are $1.6 million. The total uninsured construction and contents cost is $1.8 million. So there's still a lot of need, and there's not enough money to fulfill those needs within our community. And the last page was just a press release that came out from Brace back in January and February, talking about Brace, who they are, launching a Hurricane Sally helpline, and also talking about a sub-grant that came through for Hurricane Sally with Career Scarosa. And then I really just wanted your feedback and your input. You guys are well connected in the community to know what type of thoughts or ways we can improve the process and make it better. We understand that we're starting this out and pushing this out, and I always say the word perfection is the enemy of progress. You can't keep making things completely perfect, but you got to roll it out, get started, and improve it as you go along. So I'll turn it over to Michelle to give you a quick update, and then we can answer any questions that you may have. Michelle?
Thanks, Brian. Good morning. My name is Michelle Luckett. I'm the new CEO for Brace, and we are thrilled to partner with the Gulf Coast Minority Chamber of Commerce and other social service agencies to provide the only case management program in the region for Hurricane Sally recovery. Thanks to a partnership with Career Source Escarosa, we received a $406,000 sub-grantee award to provide staffing that will allow us to help the community recover and get back on their feet. That grant has allowed us to hire 7 individuals, as well as bring in 4 additional interns from the University of West Florida to serve as needs assessors. That process has received over 900 phone calls to the Brace helpline since it opened up in February. We average anywhere between 7 to 15 calls a day, and sometimes we can help people right away, point them in the right direction, associate them with other social service agencies that can meet immediate needs, and sometimes we have to do a needs assessment, and that's where that statistics survey that Brian provided you in your packet comes in. That survey is 155 needs assessments have been completed. Actually, that was as of last week. It's up to 165 now. And that information allows us to track not just vulnerable populations, but different types of structural and construction needs. Also, what are content needs? Do you need appliances? Do you have furniture loss? Do you have other issues involved where it may be medical assistance that's needed? And so we are incredibly excited to be able to provide some quantitative data to the recovery process that did not exist. This is done through a partnership with an organization called World Renew. They normally come in the week after a disaster, and they canvass neighborhoods, and they go door to door. So what we've done this time is we've kind of spun it on its head, and we called over 1,200 FEMA applicants and reached out directly to them and said, hey, how is your recovery going? Some of them said they don't need assistance any longer. Others said, thank you for calling because we do. So we're incredibly grateful for the opportunity. Thank you, Mayor, to speak this morning. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to take them. Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Brian, you need your...
Yeah, I'll grab it.
Get all those papers out there, man. I better get my water out of the way.
There we go.
Stuff. Thank you very much for doing that, Brian, and Brace, for being here. I think it's incredibly important. There are a number of people that are still working through this. There are a number of things that are out there that people are continuing to deal with. I know, seeing Derek out there, I know we're still continuing to deal with several things at the city. Hopefully, we've got most of our stuff ready to go, and we're hoping to get repaired in the next 3 to 6 months, have everything finally repaired from Hurricane Sally. But there are certainly people out there that need that. I know I was late getting in. There were two things. One, I know there were some power issues. I saw Cadet out there. Really appreciated her being out there directing traffic at Main and Palafox. We had a little the traffic signals out. I saw Gulf Power there, so I'm sure it will be up and running as soon as we can. The second thing I just want to say is I know Keith and I this morning, we were at Olive Baptist Church, very happy to get our second vaccine. So we are now, I guess, totally through the vaccine process. We'll have to wait another, 10 days, 2 weeks, and we'll be at least good from that standpoint. But it was exciting to be out there. I really thank everyone that's associated. We talked with Sacred Heart. I know Baptist, both of them have seen increases. We saw a Johnson & Johnson site set up. I know we saw several of you with the governor out there at Zion Hope. So there are a number of sites that are out there. Today marked a reduction in the age to 40, and starting next Monday, it will be 18 and up. So really anyone that wants to get it will be able to get it. I know when talking with Sacred, they indicated they were going to push real hard for the next 3 weeks to get as many people vaccinated as possible. I forget how many thousand they were telling us, Keith, that they were going to get done each of these next 3 weeks. So there were a number of people that we expect to see that. We have seen continue to see our positivity rate is around 4.5%, just under 4.5%. Our hospitalizations are continue to remain in the 30s and the 20s. Like I said, I said in my radio interview this morning that this is kind of where I expect us to see. We'll go up during the middle of the week. We'll come down in the weekend. We're at 22. We've never been that low. Of course, we were up in the 30s a little bit earlier in the week, but I think that's just normal fluctuation that we'll see. We've seen that both May last year and in September. The biggest thing we can do right now, of course, is the vaccines, and I mentioned what the age is reductions. And again, just go ahead and working to make sure that you have an opportunity to get that vaccine. It's incredibly important at this particular time. In many ways, more than the mask, that's the way that we will get out of this this virus. And again, even though I think there's likelihoods the virus could continue to stay with us for some time. Really what we're trying to do is drive down the issue related to hospitalizations and mortality, which I think we're already seeing that the vaccines are making a positive difference. I think they had a huge impact on where we find ourselves today with hospitalizations and positivity rates. And I think as more people get vaccinated, we'll continue to push those numbers even further down. I did want to say, had a lot of fun this weekend. See a few of you out here that I saw. See Chief Chrisman. I see Councilman Wiggins. I saw some of them out there. Kareth Fiddler was at many of the same events I was at. And of course, Casey, unfortunately, she had to be at all of them. She was taking pictures, but I appreciate her being out there as well. We had a big weekend on Saturday. We started out with Hollis T. Williams. It was really good to see the plan. I think the county has done a really good job with the planning group, the SCAPE group that was there. It's exciting to see the plan that can happen. We're really excited to see that come to fruition. One of the things we discussed was, and I talked with Matt Posner at length, we have said that both Hollis T. Williams and Carpenter's Creek are the two issues we want any restore funding that was going to go for city to go to construction. Now, I think, again, they've been very clear that they want to see that money leveraged, and I think there are opportunities both within the state and other federal funds to leverage those funds, but we would like to get some seed money from that to start doing construction. We obviously can immediately, once this gets done and signed off, we can start the construction of the skate park. There were many people there that were excited to see that happening. There were also, I was very happy to see David Williams, who I've known for a while, but I spent 8 years over at Pensacola High School with kids attending over there. He was his principal. He's about to be retiring. David is the son of Hollis T. Williams, and he was there representing the family and taking a look at was very pleased at what was being put together, both in terms of from an environmental standpoint, but also from a community connectivity standpoint. I really think this is going to be a major thoroughfare to connecting people, really a linear park that really sort of the vision sort of started when they planned on putting it together, but it never really came together in this way. And I think what we've got done there will be exciting, and I think more than anything else, it will also take care of a lot of our stormwater. Then we certainly had fun with Council President Moore and also Commissioner Robert Bender over at Bill Bond. It was the start of Bill Bond. It was good to see them. I know last year they had kind of a crazy year. I really appreciated the flexibility. They stopped their season, came back out, had a summer season, a little bit of a fall season, but they started Saturday with their normal, very much back to kind of normal for baseball, so it was good to have that, good to see that going on. I see Brian Cooper in the back. It's one of our premier programs in looking at our baseball. What we've partnered with Bill Bond. They do an incredible job teaching kids about teamwork in baseball, so it was exciting to see that going on, and we're very excited about that program, and it was great to be a part of it and see it actually, after last year, actually have an opening day. Last, and probably the funnest of all, I had a chance to see Chief Chrisman and Councilman Wiggins back there at the kickball. This was an event that came out of, sort of sprang out of, it was between the McGee Field, East Pensacola Rattlers, and we had the sheriff's office out there, the PPD out there for a game. The fire department was out there. I thought if you were there and had spent some time, it was really good to see. I appreciate Kyle Kopacek, who is on the Citizens Police Advisory Committee. This has been one of the things he said could foster better relationships. I think this would be something that comes out of the CPAC that will have lasting impact in ways that we can build better relationships between our communities and our police and firefighters and many of the city services. But it was exciting to see. It was a spirited game and a very good game. And Chief, I don't believe we have anybody that didn't report in. Although I'm not sure some of the injuries. I know you were complaining about some back and leg injuries potential. But I see you here today, so I'm happy about that. Unfortunately, we lost 2-1, but it was a valiant effort. A lot of good, just really a lot of good time. And I think that was the most important part. That's what we were trying to do. There was a lot of fun between the youth and the police officers, and I think that was what we wanted to see in a very positive situation. I can't say how much I appreciate Coach Caldwell and his team that put that on, and it was a great event. Appreciate the Sheriff's Department bringing forward a lot of assets. They had hot dogs there and chips, and it was very good. I didn't get to stick around to see Councilman Wiggins how the sheriff's office did. I don't know if you played in that game, but I didn't get a chance to see that game. But I did watch our police department, and it was the main part. Everyone was winners because it really felt like a great day, and everyone had a good time. It was a lot of fun. This week we will have Good Friday, so the offices will be closed. The following City of Pensacola offices and facilities will be closed on Friday, April 2nd. City of Pensacola Administrative Offices, City Hall, and City of Pensacola Community Resource Centers. This will not affect in any way anybody's trash because Friday is an open date, so it will not affect that. Exceptions will be Osceola Golf Course and Roger Scott Tennis Center will be open for regular hours. Again, sanitation will not be impacted at all as Friday is not a pickup. I will say sanitation services were hard at work this weekend. I saw them up on Northeast Hill. They were in the process of doing a mayor's cleanup. They collected, on March 27th, they collected 91 tons of bulk waste, 992 gallons of paint, and 254 tires. The cleanup took place in a portion of East Hill and some of the surrounding neighborhoods. The next mayor's cleanup is scheduled for April 24th in portions of Districts 6 and 7. So please go to cityofpensacola.com and look for details as to exactly where that is. Hashtag connector public input. City of Pensacola invites the public to provide input on phase 1 of the downtown hashtag connector project, which is a catalytic project supporting the city's goal to create a more connected public waterfront in Pensacola. The city is offering opportunities for both in-person and virtual input. Virtual presentation discussion will be Tuesday, April 13th from 5:30 to 7, and in-person open house will be Wednesday, April 14th from 5:30 to 7 at the Community Maritime Park Amphitheater, which is right behind the Wahoo Stadium, right on the water here. So hopefully you'll have a chance to come there and see what's going on, much like what we did with Hollis T. Williams. It's good to be outside and in this time of COVID to see some of these things. We'll probably have all our reader boards there. Hopefully the wind will be calm and it won't create too much havoc, but it will be a good certainly 5:30 to 7 should work. All residents, business owners, stakeholders are encouraged to participate so that they can learn about the project updates and share feedback. This will be very informative. We've gotten plans pulled together, but this is obviously just much like Hollis T. Williams. We're trying to get the public to provide any input, things that we didn't think of. So I thought that was very good the other day, and we think this will be good for helping us get finally moving on hashtag and Bruce Beach. So that'll be good. FDOT Cervantes Street lane closures. Drivers will encounter intermittent inside lane closures on Wednesday, on West Cervantes Street between Dominguez and A Street beginning today, Monday, March 29th. Lane closures will begin on the west end of the project at Dominguez Street and vary in length to allow crews to perform median improvement work. One lane in each direction will always be maintained. Median work and lane closures will progress eastward until the end of the year. So again, it's not going to be right in the city at this particular time, but if you're over there connecting between the county and the city, you'll run into some delays, so we want to make sure you're aware of that. The work is part of a $7 million construction project to improve pedestrian safety, along with a 2.2-mile section of West Cervantes from Dominguez to A Street. Work is estimated to be completed by early 2022. You can learn more at facebook.com/Cervantes Street. The ECUA Main Street project that continues to work, causing the westbound lane of Main Street from Clubs to B Street to be closed to traffic. The project began Monday, February 22nd, is expected to be completed by mid-April, weather permitting. Traffic is being detoured around the construction site. For questions about the project, please contact Keith Feld, who is the engineer, at 850-969-6653. He is with ECUA, and they are continuing to do work on that project. And I see Derek back there nodding his head. We get a lot of calls. We have no control over it at this particular time, but we are certainly hoping that ECUA, I know they're working hard. It's a sewer issue connection, so once that gets done, that'll be good for all those citizens in that area, and we want to get Main Street back open. The good news is the airport, I just got something from Matt today, and we are actually above. We're at 103% of where we were at this same time at the end of March in 2019. So as I remind you, 2019 was record year that we had ever had at the airport. So after COVID, we nosedived down to almost nothing. We are now back up to 2019 levels, and part of that is much of that is related to expansion that is happening. We've put on two, if you remember, we've done two things out there. We put on two new carriers that will about take all of our desk space. But we also have other partners like United Airlines, who've been with us for a significant amount of time, offering new nonstop flights. United Airlines will expand service from Pensacola to 4 new nonstop destinations beginning in May of 2021. Cleveland, Milwaukee, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh. The added service will begin May 27th, 2021, and continues through September 2021. We're excited to see this opportunity for growth at the airport. To learn more about Pensacola International Airport, view flights at flypensacola.com. So at this time, that's most of what I had. I did want to add today that I've communicated and personally been looking at. I wanted to make an announcement today that I'm announcing that I will not be seeking re-election in 2022. At this particular time, Jill and family and I have been discussing this at length for some time, and I think this is the right decision for us. Making that decision, at least, and why we're doing that now is there's no doubt that the last year certainly has been more than trying. It's been probably, as I've told Andrew, it's probably 5 years combined into one. But again, I've been concerned that I think in many ways I'm concerned about what I see dividing into sides in politics when a mask here becomes no longer a device for fighting virus, but becomes a political tool. When we begin to make decisions that are more about politics than about how we make Pensacola better, those are things that are serious concern for me. Things that's what I was looking to do, or where we go from here. I'm very worried about both our country, our state, and most importantly, our city continuing to be torn by these things. I think things have become more divisive since the election in 2000, but for the most part, they had not permeated down to local level. I certainly think within the last 12 months, things have become uglier, more difficult, and more divisive in what we're doing. And I hope that, again, we don't make those same mistakes. I think for myself personally, there were some things we were looking at. I had this League of Cities back in February talk to me about running for president of the League of Cities, and I thought about that, and it was enough to make me think. But then after spending a week ago on vacation, at that time, I thought, there's an opportunity to do things you want to do and be happy, and then to come back last week and I think, see us potentially make decisions that I think were not going to move us forward. I mean, I couldn't believe we were having an argument about not providing veterans bathrooms, but it appeared that we might go that way. But I'm glad to see the right reasoning came out and prevailed at the end in getting those things going forward. I just feel like there are a number of issues that are happening right now that we're not focused as much about how we move the community forward, but to how we divide apart. And I think that is unproductive for us as a community. And again, those are the things that I would, again, that's why I was making the announcement today. But this is something for some time with my family we've been looking at and thinking about making that decision. My father said 12 of them were great, and the last 2, he didn't have fun anymore, and he decided he wasn't going to run. I think 2020 has been a lot of that for myself and my family. Again, I think it's, there's always a time that things change over. I feel like we've made an incredible amount of progress here internally. I communicated to the morning before coming in that I could not be happier internally in what we have going on here internally at the city. But obviously things have changed externally, and I think overall, and just what's happened with COVID, like I said before, dealing with things like having to talk about masks or preparations and trying to create safety. These things, when they no longer became logical, it became difficult. And there are more issues than that we're facing as a city. Again, the things we will continue to do, as I reminded the staff, is we still have 19-20 months to do good things to make the city of Pensacola better. We will continue to do that.
things like what we're doing at the airport. We announced things that are happening at the port. But at the same time, we have the opportunity, we need to get back focused on everything else that we're doing, and we need to make the decisions not about individuals or politics. We need to make the decisions about what moves Pensacola better and how do we make Pensacola better. And I think as long as we keep focused on that, we'll continue to have a much better community. But that's kind of it from our side, and I at least wanted to make that announcement today, and I appreciate all the work that staff has done, and I wanted to be upfront with them this morning and communicate where I am and what I wanted to do, so making that announcement today. And otherwise, I'm opening up to your questions, and I'm happy to provide any answers. Yes.
Sounds like it was a combination of frustration at City Council and also the vacation experience. Is that a fair way to characterize it?
Well, I think there's a point at which I've always said, as long as I'm having fun and feel like I'm making a positive difference, I want to keep doing it. When I'm no longer having fun, and I think doing that and getting out of town and doing that experience did make me realize there are other things I could be doing. There are other things I could be doing and still making a difference here at the City of Pensacola. But I got to enjoy what I do, and that's a big part of it. I think the other part is it wasn't a frustration anything necessarily here with City Council. It's a frustration just in general over the last 12 months at dealing with things that I don't believe are constructive to moving our community forward, that are more just combative about things that I have no desire. Again, I have no desire to some of the things that happen at a national level. If I wanted to have those issues, I would have run for a federal office where I could have those debates. My service has always been about how do we make Pensacola better, and I think it wasn't just this past week was just another case of seeing things that are the frustration that happened. I had a lot of people though since Thursday night that came to me and said, "Wow, I mean, it really seems like it's getting personal with a lot of the council members." I said, I know. I hope they're not making decisions that are bad for Pensacola because they're making personal decisions. I mean, clearly you saw what happened when people were confronted with what they were really doing. They quickly flipped over, made the right decision with doing it. But I think much of their problem with the restrooms was not problems with the restrooms. It was challenges overall with myself personally, and that came out very clear in some of the debate. So I've had more people tell me that, and I'm always surprised how many people watch the council meetings, but sometimes stay up till 11 o'clock to watch them. But I did get a lot of those comments. It just seemed like the right time to do that today, and in light of that, because I don't think we have to do that. I don't think we should ever do that. I mean, that's not productive. Like I said before, I see, whether it's at the federal, the state, or the local level, I see us very much dividing into these team things, and it's like, well, if this is my team and this is everybody else is their team, and if it doesn't matter whether it's bad for the city, if it's bad for them, then that's what I'll do, and that's unproductive. I mean, but we're seeing that at all levels of government. It's not unique to Pensacola. I just don't want to see that happen in Pensacola. That's not what it's not why I ran. That's not why I participated, and that's not what I'm looking to do. But the other thing is again, for a while I've been thinking about this since Christmas, and I mean, for the most part, we will have accomplished most of the things we set out to do in the transition team already. I mean, we've accomplished a number of those things. Some of the ones we haven't have been delayed by COVID. We'll have accomplished probably by the end of this year. So we'll have done most everything we set out to do. We've created a lot of things, a lot of positive things have happened, and I feel more. The best thing we focused on was people and internally in City Hall, and I think we've done what we needed to do there. At the same time, it's kind of like what do you go accomplish? You feel like you've done everything you wanted to do. So from that standpoint, yeah, I mean, I think both the opportunity to do something you enjoy, and then also just the case of let's take a step back and let's make decisions right for Pensacola. Let's not make decisions based on politics, and if we can do that, I think we'll be better for the city. Jim? Jeremy.
Is there anyone that you would like to see pick up where you left off?
You mean
Is there
come into this place? Okay. Yeah, again, I don't know. I mean, I think making that announcement is important to allowing people that have those thoughts to come forward. I think there are a lot of people. What I think would be most important is finding a leader who can unite people and bring people together, because I mean that's going to be more and more difficult as we move forward. But I look at some people. I think he's young, but I think he's getting there. I look at Council President Moore. I look over at Escambia County and I see Commissioner May. So there are people out there that I don't know if they've ever expressed interest or have any desire to necessarily serve in this position, but I do think there are people that can do that and function and bring people together. It could be somebody who hasn't even done politics, so it's hard to say at this particular time, but I think making this announcement gives more people the opportunity to come forward with ideas and enough time to think about running. So, I think my plan, if this is what we were going to do, I probably would have done that later, moving into the summer, because I think it's enough time that somebody needs to make those decisions. But much of what we were doing was precipitated by, I felt like a need to basically say, hey, we got to start focusing on what's right for Pensacola, not what's personal in any of this stuff. So I think that's a big part of where we go. Jim.
You said you've been thinking about this since at least Christmas. I guess when did you make the decision, and then why today are you announcing why?
Well, as I said, over Christmas we did talk with my family. We discussed it, and basically everybody was like, yeah, I think they would have been happy to get out of politics probably a lot earlier than I was. They were at that point. I thought about it. I kind of said, well, I'll come back and look and see what's going on. Like I said before, in February I got a very tempting offer to run for the discussion from some people in leadership of the League of Cities about running for the league. I had actually gotten some stuff prepped in early March to do that, and I kind of was like, hey, if I did that and had the opportunity to be president of the league and president of FAC, that would be kind of a cool personal thing to do and do that. But at the same time, like I said, just over the last couple of weeks, both going on vacation, getting away from here, having some time just to be like, hey, I'm just not focused on what's going on here and be focused much more on my own personal life. I was like, that was part of it. And then coming back and seeing what I thought were, obviously, as I said, it wasn't just me. I mean, I got a number of communications after Thursday night that felt like it was pretty noticeable. Different things that were happening. And I just felt like it was important to make that announcement. This is probably earlier than I normally would have, Jim, but I felt like it was important to make those things said with the conditions of what was going on. I don't want us making decisions based on personal things. We need to make decisions on what's best for the city of Pensacola.
So, pardon my ignorance, but the position with FAC or League of Cities,
I would have had to run in August.
If you stayed mayor, you could be, but
Correct.
Leaving, you can't.
Correct. So, I mean, and it's tempting, but at the end of the day, it shouldn't be about. I shouldn't be running for mayor for personal things. I mean, that's not what I want to do. If you hold this position, you owe everything to the citizens in the city. So, that's kind of the way I would run. And it was tempting. It was interesting. And there was a part of me that wanted to do some of that. But then at the same time, I looked at other stuff and just simply said, you know what? The way we were leaning and discussing as a family back in December was the right way to go. I mean, again, no Grover Robinson has lived past the age of 66, and that's 15 years. It kind of puts you in perspective of where things are. If I'm going to do things, I want to do I would say in 2019, I certainly enjoyed very much the service here. Not that we haven't had good times in 2020, but it just has become more challenging, more difficult, more divisive, and none of those things are necessarily are things that that's why I got into this.
Is there anything that you have as a primary priority to get accomplished in your last 2 years, other than opening up the white patent house over here? Okay.
All those things with the hashtag thing are going to be important. I would say, Andrew, the things we want to continue to do is continue that progress of making Pensacola a better place. I would love to see the airport continue to expand, the things that are happening. There are more opportunities there. We've talked about it at length. There are tremendous opportunities for this city coming out of COVID, and we're already seeing that. You're already seeing us already at the end of March. We're 103% of where we were in 2019 at the airport. It's no different from all the people that have been communicating about, hey, we want to come. Pensacola looks like it has great things available. The biggest challenge to us is affordability. I mean, housing challenges are affordability is very tough. That's why we need more supply. We need more people building stuff here. That's why we would like to see more of those apartments going up, more things happening in downtown, more housing options. That's the way you keep. I mean, we've created demand and desire. I mean, that's what we got going for us. The challenge is right now we've got to push supply out, or else it's going to get more and more expensive to be here, and that's not something we want to see. So we're working on that. Those are obviously things we want to do. There are a lot of other things we'd like to see accomplished, but I mean, the focus is on what makes Pensacola better. That's the focus. Yes.
So, when you're out of office, what's on the bucket list?
Well, in the middle of COVID, we did kind of make a decision. I'd looked at this thing that had the 25 top national parks. I kind of ran them down, and all of a sudden I was like, between being a kid and we had our own children, I'd managed to visit about 10 of the 25. So I said, well, let's go to all 25. And now it's been like, well, let's go to all, at least, it'd be great to get to all 63, but at least all of those in the contiguous 48. So we've got a couple of things planned as a family to do a few trips, go see a few things, and certainly enjoy some of those things. I certainly have enjoyed travel. I feel very fortunate to be where Jill and I are, and I think we can. We have opportunities to do those things, and we look forward to doing that in the future. With that said, I still have. I definitely want to keep working. There are opportunities, and I'll have to try to see where the next challenge or opportunity arises. But clearly, there are other things that I think that are important that are going on in the city that I think that would be interesting and challenging to be a part of. And I mean, I'll look forward to those opportunities when we get out. But certainly enjoyed being here. The hardest part of this decision today is the people that work here at the city as a team, because, as I said before, I could not be more pleased with who we have as a team and who we have making decisions. But there are just a number of external challenges. I mean, case in point, over the weekend, I told Keith, I said, the good news is apparently people are starting to come downtown again because we continue to get more and more complaints about parking. So for a long time with COVID, we didn't have any complaints about parking. Now we got parking complaints. We'll see what happens. But those are good things. We plan to. We're going to put out to bid the parking service, the app. I've not been real happy with the service we're getting right now. We've struggled to keep finding something, and it's just been frustrating. But it's not for lack of effort. We definitely want to figure out what to do, and those are things we got to make happen. We got to find other parking opportunities, certainly to accomplish what we want to do. We've got to probably have vertical parking in the city. It would help us create a more dense, walkable area. So all of these things, I think, are positives that will go into the future, whether they happen while I'm in office or someone else. I don't think these things are going to change. I think as we continue to try to make Pensacola a better place, a more safer, walkable place, these are going to be the same things that we're focused on. John, I apologize. I looked over here because I've been looking over there the whole time. Did you have a question?
I'm glad you asked. So Mayor, could you give us some specifics of the type of problems you're encountering with the parking app now that makes you want to go seek a new vendor?
Well, I mean, if you get on Facebook and see people's experience, they'll show you what the problem is. Whether it points you to when you pick it up and it puts you in Dubai or something else. I mean, I've heard all kind of stuff. I don't know what the problem is. I'm talking with Lisa. You know, it's like 75% of the time it works perfect, but I mean, again, when you have that kind of volume, 25% is a lot of people, and so to have that kind of failure rate on other people, it's just problematic. It's not everyone, but it's enough people that it is making a challenge. And you know, I responded to 2 Facebook posts this weekend, and I mean, if 2 people are putting on Facebook, they're probably, you know, 10, 20 times that that are actually experiencing that. So, I mean, you know, we've got some challenges. We know that. We tried it a whole different way. You know, worked with Lisa. It's not, again, for lack of effort. We're trying. It doesn't seem that hard, but we seem to still have challenges. So we're going to put it back out for bid, and we'll see if we can get the right person this time. Any other questions? If not, thank you very much for coming today. We'll look forward to seeing you next week.